Today we're going to take a look at how to create 3D boxes inside of Photoshop, but I'm going to show you a way that it's not, we're going to take the normal way that you'd create a 3D object, but I'm going to show you how to add that extra oomph, that extra something to it that gives it a lot more color than a normal 3D object. So let's create a new file here, and I'm just going to choose 500 by 500, and no reason to have it 300 DPI, so we'll choose 72, and this could just be an image for the web. And so the first thing I want to do here is create a new layer. So click the Create New Layer icon, and then let's go to the Filter menu, go down to Render, and choose 3D Transform. And inside here, what you're going to do is select the Cube tool, and just click and drag a cube out onto your image here. Now you can make it long and tall and whatnot, so it can look any way you want. I'm going to try to make mine as close to a regular square as I can. Then what you need to do is select this little Revolve Trackball tool here, and when you click that, you're not going to see too much change here, but if I click and I drag, watch this. When I turn it over, see how I start to see some shading going on here. So I'm going to click and drag this and try to position it as much like so I can pretty much see all three sides here. And just experiment with it here. Try to move it over so the left side, you can kind of see a little bit of a gray. The top is going to be a little darker gray, and then this right side will be a little whiter. And then just click OK when you're done. So now I've got my cube. So what we're going to do is use the pieces of this cube to really add a 3D quality to it. It looks 3D now, but it looks kind of lame. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my magic wand tool here. I'm going to drop the tolerance down to between 7 and 10, and I'm going to click on one of the gray areas. So let's click on the top one. Put the selection around that area. I'm going to choose Layer, New. I'm going to choose New Layer via Cut. And look at the shortcut there, Shift Control J. It's going to be Shift Command J on a Mac. What this will do is it'll cut that portion of the box out and put it on its own layer. So now let's click on that box again, click on this leftmost gray area and use that shortcut Shift Control J, and it's going to drop that onto its own layer. So now I've got each piece on its own layer. So now we're going to add a layer style to it. So just come over to the top one, double click on it, go over to Gradient Overlay, and you can see it's added a black and white gradient to it. Well, I'm going to click the gradient picker. I'm going to choose this one right here. It's this orange, yellow, orange. So choose that one, and then click on your gradient to open the gradient editor. And in here, I just want to see it goes to orange and then yellow and back to orange again. Well, I just want two colors in here, so I'm going to delete the orange one. Just click it and drag it off, and then move yellow over. And now what I want to do is actually make the yellow one more orange. So double click on it, drag your color down just a little bit till it becomes orangish, hit OK, and now you can see we've got a dark orange to a light orange gradient, hit OK again, and if we tuck this out of the way, you can see that's the top here. And you can move this angle around if you want to kind of just control where the lighting and the shading is coming from, and then just hit OK again. So now instead of doing that thing all over again, what I'll do is click on this little F icon, but hold down the Alt key on a PC or Option on a Mac. So Option or Alt click on the F and drag down. You can see that little double cursor there. It's going to duplicate it. Hold down Option or Alt again and drag down, and that duplicates it again. So now look at the colorful 3D object we've made. And the only thing you might want to do to tweak it is you can come in here and reposition the gradients. So let's take this side for example. I'll open up the layer style dialog, go to gradient overlay, and maybe I'll move it so that one goes toward the bottom. And then do the same thing over here, open up layer style, go to your gradient overlay, and just experiment with the angle. Chances are what you want to do is pick a lighting source, generally the top left over here. Pick a lighting source and imagine that lighting source coming down. So it's going to hit here. It might hit the top over here. So just click OK. And now you've got your 3D object. And all you really did was use a quick filter to give you the 3D object. But then you used a gradient and some layer styles here to help kind of add that extra something to it, because it looked pretty lame before. And if you want to, just duplicate it a couple times, change the colors. I found that bright colors tend to work best here, so a kind of a bright blue and lighten that color up a little bit so you get two different color blues, and the same thing with greens, you get two different color greens here.